Sterling Lawyers built a culture that has allowed them to grow to over $17 million in revenue and almost 90 employees. You're not going to want to miss this one. Welcome back to the Sterling Family Law Show, the podcast designed to help family lawyers build the firm of their dreams. I am your co-host, Tyler Dolph. I'm also the CEO of our family-focused marketing agency called Rocket Clicks, and I'm with my co-host, Jeff Hughes today. Great to see you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jeff Hughes, CEO of Sterling Lawyers. We are a 27 attorney family law firm and doing about 17 plus million in new business this year.
Incredible results. And today we're going to talk about something very close to both of our hearts, which is the culture, the heartbeat of our firms. And we're going to talk a little bit about the remote aspect of Sterling, but also just the importance of doubling down on your vision and your values and what it takes to really build a successful law firm. Jeff, it's great to be back. We're taking this deep dive into Sterling, and one thing that we've talked about a lot, and that I've talked about with a lot of other attorneys, is the idea of building a culture. We see so many times where small law firms who have the single attorney or the attorney that left a big firm that starts their own firm, at the beginning they're doing everything.
Yeah,
They're billing, they're
you
collecting
have to.
cash, and
You
they're
got to do
having to be a
everything.
lawyer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they have to be. But eventually they start to grow. And as they grow, they have to grow and change as a leader because they have to build a culture. They have to empower others to do the work. And as we know, Sterling has done such an incredible job of this, growing into 2 states with multiple offices and almost 90 team members. And so I want to spend today talking about how you and your team were able to accomplish that at Sterling.
Well, it's certainly, Tyler. I love this topic, and it's one of those things. What's interesting about culture is that it's the most dominant force that drives the success or the sub success. I want to call it failure. Okay, the sub success of a law firm. But it's one thing, it's the one thing you can't go out and buy. Like we can go out and buy marketing, we can go buy financial services, we can go buy all these things, but we can't buy culture. Yet it is the driver of firms, family law firms succeeding. So I know we're going to strip down what we have done today here at Sterling on that. And I want to give our audience a little bit of context so they can understand the perspective we're coming from here at our firm. So we've got 80-ish teammates, okay, spread out over 2 countries, about 30 something in the Philippines and the rest here in the US. We're in 2 states, and the vast majority of our team works remote. So we have 4 what we call hub locations where the lawyers and paralegals go to, but they're there maybe half the time each person. Some people a little more than others, some people rarely in the office. Yet despite all the far-flung teammates we've got, we've been able to build a very cohesive and powerful culture that is the driver of our profitability as a firm. Now, we could have a crappy culture and probably eke by, but we have a wonderful culture with wonderful people that we're very, very intentional about. And so, yeah, one like third party one affirmation on this before we jump into the meat of the content. I have always been kind of like sour on these best culture, best place to work type things because I felt like, oh, you just got to apply and you're going to win. Well, maybe a little bit, but we just recently did it and we got top place to work. But that's like big deal. Okay, that's nice. But what was really cool is that we had 90 plus percent participation, which is really hard to get. Everyone's got to go on and do the survey and all that, and it's anonymous. But here's the thing: we got 100% of the respondents said it was a great place to work, and that blows my mind because I still have a hard time believing it. And maybe those few people who didn't respond were the ones that would have said it sucks or whatever. But the fact is, we got a lot of participation and 100% unanimous. Like this is a great place to work. So that speaks to our leaders that are in the trenches with our teammates that make this such a fun place to work. It's not certainly not on Jeff Hughes. So
That's so big. And I think one thing that's really important about culture, that's maybe a little nuanced, is when you're building culture, you're building it for the long term. And it's so much easier to build that with a team that you trust and can rely on and that has been there with you for a while in the trenches. You mentioned that. it's so much harder to do that if you're turning over team members every year or your leadership team continues to change. I know in prior conversations you talked about the longevity and the retention of your current leadership team, which I believe probably lends to your ability to create a great
Yeah, and it
culture.
wasn't always that way, Tyler, as you know, because you've watched us build this from you were there in the beginning. So you've watched us build it, and we struggled getting our culture right. And I thought being kind of a guy who really paid a lot of attention to leadership issues, got a lot of reading and stuff, it's kind of a real passion of mine. I thought this would be like an area I would personally excel at, but it honestly took 5, 6 years to start to get it right. And it's only been in the past few years with Jeff Curlin coming in and elevating some of our other leaders that we've been really able to kind of dial it in. I didn't even want to do that best place to works thing about 3 years ago because we would just get hammered. It was not would not have been good. So anyway, back to the topic at hand. So for family, I'm going to focus on family law firms because I can share from that experience. And for all you family lawyers out there are some real benefits to being intentional about culture, focusing in on it and building it. So, what I have witnessed, okay, is that as our culture has improved and it's gotten stronger, we have been able to retain talent. And it's, as you know, Tyler, you go out and have to replace someone that's extremely expensive, especially with lawyers who take a lot of clients with them out the door. Okay. Not to mention the loss of training and the expense that all went into that. So our retention has improved, our attracting ability to attract clients has increased. So that's been probably one of the most obvious measurable results of our culture improving. Another thing, our profitability has gone up substantially. And one of the factors that contributes to that the most is that our teammates care about the success of the firm. They care about the success of each other. And I'm not trying to like paint this in a glossy way that's not true because I'm not talking about ownership mentality because I think for to I am a little bit, but I think for someone to really genuinely feel that they have to actually have some ownership and that's not true in our firm. There's only a few owners, but yet you see our team by and large, vast majority of them certainly care about the clients, about each other, and about the firm ultimately winning. So that comes from having a good culture that collaborates and works well together. So those are some of the most tangible benefits of focusing in on culture and what you get out of doing that.
I'd like to focus in a little bit, Jeff, on how to set a great culture. I think our listeners, maybe that they're a little bit smaller firm, but they want to grow, they want to build. Them as the owner realize, like you did, hey, it's on me. I have to be the one to pioneer this. And to me, that all starts with vision, right? Setting the course, helping the company or the firm understand where are we going.
Yeah. So like I think there's some tools that family law firms, unfortunately, a majority of them that I have talked to don't have these in place. And it's kind of the foundation of building your culture because it defines the jumping off point. Okay. And in the world of business, these are very common, right? You talk about a vision, a mission, or a purpose for why your firm even exists. And what are the values of the like that you're really going to die on those hills, those values hills. Okay. And for us, we set those early on and we have stuck to them and we constantly, weekly, go back within the firm formally and refer back to them. So in our case, Sterling's mission, our purpose is to equip family law clients. That's it. That's the end of it, period, full stop, right? So that's one. And then we have 4 values that we talk about, we celebrate, we reward on and all that. And then we have a vivid vision. That's a one-page document that it sounds kind of cultish here, but we actually read it out loud in our weekly meeting. So I think building a culture starts with those 3 things as the foundation of that culture. And that vivid vision is like one page long and it talks about various aspects between how we serve clients and take care of each other and that sort of thing in there and our future.
But
So,
this is really about creating alignment, right? It's
yeah,
about having everyone in the firm agree this is where we're going. We're going to get there together and we're going to act a certain way so that we can all do this in a united
yeah,
front.
yeah. You can literally go to someone that's been in our firm for 4 months and ask them, "What are your values?" And they'll be able to tell you the 4 values that we have. Most of them would be able to, probably not everybody, but certainly anyone who's been there for any length of time. But the reality is you go to so many businesses and you ask the owners and like the leaders of the business, what are your values? And they can't tell you because they're just not, they have them on a wall, but they're not really integrated within the service of the entire firm. So that our firm does that. And it helps. It does give us alignment because we know what our 4 values are. You violate one of those values, like you get a lot of attention in a negative way for doing that, right? We talk about it. So
Yeah, to me, values is something that has to be lived. It can't be something that you make up or you sit in a room and like, oh, would this sound good? Do you think people would like this? It's more like, who are we as people and what do we actually believe in and how do we embody those on a day-to-day
yeah.
basis?
Teller, you asked about like how we do it here. Okay. So I'm going to share with you how our firm has done it. And I think there's a lot of crossover applications to every other family law firm, whether they're our size or smaller or larger. Okay. So there's, I think, a lot here that a leader of a family law firm can pull out, can modify and fit their context and put it to work. Okay. So I kind of think of building our culture is there's some real tangibles that we can do, and there's some areas that are really kind of ephemeral. They're hard to kind of pin down intangible a little bit. And there's one, the most important one's an intangible. I'm going to wait till the end to share that with you. But from a tangible perspective, you get past the foundational purpose, mission, or purpose, values, and vivid vision, your vision of your firm. The tangibles that we use is we every teammate is in a weekly meeting. We call it a level 10 meeting, an L10. Some teammates may be biweekly, but certainly every lawyer, every paralegal, legal assistant, and leadership team, anybody in leadership role is in an L10 every week. Now, what's that? That's a weekly coming together and talking about the issues in everybody's individual jobs and departments. And as issues bubble up, either they're addressed there or they're maybe escalated to some other part of the firm. And that's just a real cleansing kind of meeting to clear issues and get alignment back again. And even the lawyers show up to this and they're all busy and it's usually held over lunch. People are eating and they're driving in their car. It's not like a formal thing. Everyone comes together and they got to like sign the agenda at the end. It's very kind of like driven by an agenda, but it's an issue clearing thing. So that's one thing we do. What's really important about this, everyone, is that in the way we have found that they work the best is certainly we do them over video because everyone's everywhere. But we make and we require everyone to have their video camera on. Now, there are some circumstances where you're not going to, and we get that. And it's not in every single minute of every single L10, but routinely have your camera on. And that came from an idea that we got early on where we realized that if you can see each other, there's something neurologically happens on the connection with each other than just hearing voices. Plus, you can see kind of if you're paying attention. Now, you can always be looking at the screen and typing an email to your mom, right? But okay, that there's always a way around the rules, but
Well,
it
so
does
much of what
help.
you say is nonverbal, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's whole. Yeah, obviously 80% of our communication plus is nonverbal. So that does certainly aid in that. So we require that. Another tool that we use is we have a bi-weekly all team meeting that's not oriented around the business as much as it's oriented around social things. So what this looks like is every other week called the summons. And I did a whole podcast on this maybe a couple months ago. You can go back and find it. It is real. I actually showed one of our actual summons. Okay. And then we talked about how it worked and everything. And this is an incredible tool. It does not take a ton of prep. It does to get it kind of going, but once you get it going, it doesn't. So it's an all team meeting where we have people from the Philippines in the middle of the night over there, and we have everyone here. And we do it over lunch. Everyone's doing their thing. There's shout outs, it's celebration, it's high fives. We do lawyer like success stories where we did something amazing for a client. So it's all about celebration and recognition. And that is super powerful for people to feel a part of something, especially when they're working from home and they don't see their teammates butt on a screen. Okay. So that's another thing we do. We do every other week, the opposite week from the summons. We do it. We have a newsletter we put together that we send out, and that's the same thing. It's basically a written pictorial version of the summons. And we put all of our client testimonials from the past week. And sometimes those can be like 6 or 7 pages of testimonials, but I guarantee you every lawyer and PL team, paralegal team that is out there they go read them because it's their clients that they're serving, and their client gives them something good back. We kind of project that to the whole team, the whole firm, so they can all celebrate with each other. So we do that in there. So those are three like real obvious things, meeting wise, bringing people together. Um, and this gets back this next one here. It's harder to describe in like a short, pithy explanation here, but it's all about aligning the incentives. And that I'm talking about compensation incentives. And for us, we want our lawyers to do a great job taking care of clients. So part of their alignment is service oriented, right? And so aligning incentives across the firm to, row in the same direction. If you're keyed on, client service, making that a part of incentives, profit, whatever it is, aligning up those incentives. You show me the incentives for a family law firm, and I'll show you the results. It's a one-to-one correlation in how that works. And another thing, and I've talked about this already, is we do a ton of celebrating, not only in our summons, not only in our L10s, not only in the Monday memo. We bring everybody together once a year. We do recognitions there on our Sterling Day. We have every team has a budget that they get together for lunches, dinners, special events on a quarterly basis. Those are, again, voluntary. You don't have to go, but it's all about trying to create community and connection on the local individual level. Like even over in the Philippines, we fly everyone to an island once a year, and we have a big deal that goes for a couple days there because it's even hard to get people together over there. But like here, all of our four individual offices get together regularly, quarterly, and the purpose there is not talk about business, obviously, but just to bring people together for connection time and community time and that sort of thing. So those are the tangibles that we follow.
I think what I hear you saying is that as a vision becomes more concrete, you leverage the opportunity to connect to build more alignment. Like, hey, we are now aligned. We're going in this direction. We're all going together. Now let's make sure that we're building a community so that we can enjoy each other and enjoy the journey that we've decided we're going to go on together. And also let's make sure that we're aligned on how we're going to get paid and what that whole situation looks like. And to me, the overarching message is the repetition, right? There's the whole narrative that you have to hear things 7 times before you hear it the first
Uh-huh.
time.
That's
Well, the
that's so
same is true
true.
here, right? Is like you gotta create the opportunity to continue to reinforce the vision and the values and the foundational culture elements for your firm, all the time.
Yeah. Well, you said something really profound there that I hate to do because I get bored doing it, and that is repeating a message over and over and over till you feel like they've heard this so many times, they don't wanna hear me say it again, but that's simply not the case. In your mind, it's like, done, you already get it, but they gotta keep hearing it. That's how it works, and so, like, our firm about 18 months ago realized that we had some real opportunity to improve our client services, okay? And so we knew we had to shift away from the focus within the firm for lawyers was on collections. Make as much money as you can, bring in the business, blah, blah, blah. And we knew that we are missing it by not focusing on taking care of the client first. Because if we do that, then the money will come. Well, that took a culture shift that I had to be a significant part of because I'm the one who created the negativity on the other direction, talking so much about collections and celebrating that. We shifted from celebrating that to celebrating client service scores. And every opportunity that I could and the entire executive leadership team, every time we could, we talked about client service scores over and over and over and over again. Where I like shiny new stuff that turns me on and gets me excited. I don't like talking about stuff that's in the past or that is like repetitive. It seems like it's not useful, but it's the opposite of that when it comes to leadership and articulating the culture of where it's going. You got to repeat those core things over and over again.
Yeah, and we over at Rocket Clicks, we have this narrative that like once we get so sick of saying the same thing, that's probably the first time our team heard it. So we need to like double down on it.
Yeah, you got to stay sick of saying it another couple
Yes.
months. So
Absolutely. So, Jeff, you've been so intentional, and your team has been intentional about building this culture at Sterling. If someone is at a smaller firm and they want to start instituting some of this within their firm, what are some, like, just tips or tricks, or watch outs that they should think about as they're building an intentional culture at their firm?
Well, Tyler, I think the most important contributor to a strong culture starts with the leaders because it's all about modeling. It's not do what I say, it's you're going to do what I do. Maybe if we're lucky. And if I'm doing it right, we'll get some people to do that. If I'm doing it wrong, we'll get most people to do that. That's how it works in real life. And so, any culture that is negative and toxic, 100% of the time, it's the leader's fault. Not 95%, not like that. That's that employee that you allowed to do that negativity. It's their fault. No, you allowed it because you didn't fire them. And so it all rises and falls on leadership. And so every culture, the most important contributing factor is the leadership's is the leadership in that culture. What are they modeling? What are they doing? What are they rewarding? What are they aligning up from an incentive standpoint? And so that starts and ends with the lawyer because if there's a negative person in your culture, it's your job to get them out of the culture. And you can talk about hiring all you want. Yes, you can hire for culture, and everyone tries to do that. But reality is you don't understand who that person is until you've been working with them 3 to 6 months, if you're lucky. And so it's not as much about hiring them. Yes, try to do that, please. But it's way more about firing them. It's when someone you cannot turn in the right direction by coaching, by supporting, by loving on them, by helping them. If they won't line up with your culture and you're allowing them to stay within your family law firm, that is on you and you need to get rid of them. That's where the culture is mostly built there because now you help them find a setting better for that fits them and you sent the message to everyone that remains within your firm. This is the culture. Yeah, this is where we're going, and we're going to put wood behind that by helping teammates who don't fit that leave and find something that's a better fit for them. That sounds mean to some people, I know, but if you cared about your team enough, you will fire the people that need to be fired. You allowing
The
them to
problem is
stay
if you
sends the
don't.
message you don't care. Yeah. You don't care about that issue. You don't care about your value, whatever it is, your values.
I've made this mistake 100 times, and that you think, by letting them stay, well, they'll figure it out. I'm going to support them. I'm going to give them another try. The problem that happens when you do that is the people you actually want to stay end up leaving. So, like, well, he's not going to make the hard choice, so I'm going to go find someone who will.
Yeah. The 2 hardest fires are the ones where they have a great character, great people, but they're incompetent. They're not competent at that job, right? That's really tough. And the other one, though, is back to this culture issue. Someone who's an incredibly high performer who's just killing it, and they're just bringing in the results, but they're a toxic influence on your culture. You got to bite the bullet. You got to let them go. You just have to. You're better off. And I've seen it over and over again. And I've justified it too. Keeping someone, well, they're such great at this or great at that. We really need them. They're hard to replace. It's a hard culture. It's a hard time to hire. That's all excuses. You got to fire
So
them.
what you're really doing is you're changing the culture by keeping them there, because that person is now influencing a new culture. Like, oh, well, I guess that's tolerated, so I guess I can get away with that. So that's the acceptability of the culture, which is shifting under your nose and you don't even know it, most
Yeah.
of the time.
Ah, so true. So true.
It's really powerful. So, talk to us about the future. How are you going to continue ensuring that the culture remains really strong at Sterling? What are some things you're thinking about as it relates to the continuation of this amazing culture you've built?
Oh man. Well, it's easy to start to let what got you there kind of slip over time, right? Because you get there, it's like, oh, we don't have to do the meeting, the summons this week. We can skip it because we're just doing so well. We're really not. We really focus on continuing to do those fundamental things that got us there and not back away. So stick with those things. And I think at this level of where we are at in our firm, it's all about empowering the leaders underneath us to get better and to grow and to have ownership over their individual team cultures as so long as it fits in with others. So it's about training and raising up leaders at this point, and that's really hard. It takes a long time to do that. It takes a long time to do that. So I'm not in any L10s anymore. So I have Jeff Curlin runs the firm day to day. He's our president. We've got an amazing leadership team of that are just doing incredible things within their team. They're all growing. They're getting better as leaders now, and they're passing on our culture. So we're now at this stage of duplication. So as I look into the future, I'm seeing our teammates duplicating what got us there today, duplicating leadership, duplicating our values and living those out. And it's one of the most magical feelings. It's taken us 11 years to get there. This doesn't happen overnight. This is a slow process. But if you can stick with it and you can stay disciplined on focusing on having that type of culture, the rewards are incredible.
I'll leave us with this. Every Monday, I give our whole team a 5 minute, conversation to start the week. And today's topic was do the boring thing. And I talked about how, Amazon spent 20 years on doing one thing, which was to improve the customer experience, right? And they did on logistics and next day shipping. And Chick-fil-A became the most profitable fast food chain in America by focusing on one thing, exceptional customer service. Doing the boring thing over and over and over again is actually what allows companies and law firms to get to those incredible results. It's not doing, the shiny object or the next hottest thing or AI or whatever it is. It's focusing on doing the boring things and doing it great, and then duplicating that across your firm.
Yeah. Well said.
Love it. Jeff, appreciate your time. Excited to continue this journey together and helping other family law firms learn about the great success of Sterling and continue to empower their firms as well.
Yeah. It's been fun talking about something that's been so important in our firm.